With Halloween coming up and it turning into September, I thought I'd kick off doing my horror movies this year. And I'm going to explore a series of Stephen King movies. And I thought the best one to start with was the first one, Carrie from 1976, directed by Brian De Palma, starring Sissy Spacek as Carrie White, Amy Irving as Sue Schnell, Piper Laurie as Carrie's mom, Margaret White. There is also Nancy Allen playing Chris, William Katt plays Tommy, Betty Buckley is Miss Collins, John Travolta is Billy Nolan. And of course, this is based on Stephen King's first book, came out in 1974, and it is fittingly the first movie released based on Stephen King material. This is also an early movie of director Brian De Palma. He hadn't had success yet. He had the cult hit Phantom of the Paradise come out in 1974, a couple of years earlier. He also had the movie Obsession, and he had done a lot of shorts, some TV directing and everything, but Carrie would become his first huge hit. Although you can see he is quite inspired by Hitchcock and Hitchcock style and Hitchcock's building of suspense, and has a great love of shower scenes. A lot of Brian De Palma's movies have shower scenes in them, and Carrie is no exception to this. The beginning of the movie is one long shower scene in the girls' gym locker room after gym class when they're all taking a shower. So as the same way that somebody like Quentin Tarantino has a thing for feet, Brian De Palma has a thing for shower scenes. So Carrie is, of course, the story of Carrie White. She is one of those under-the-radar kids, kind of bullied in school, kind of has a weird home life. Her home life isn't great. Her home life is also ultra-religious and restrictive. She's bullied by the kids at school. She's kind of bullied by the teachers at school. But she is more ridiculed for probably the way she is perceived as just being a weird loner girl. Not that she's unattractive or anything. Sissy Spacek is beautiful, but never really fit in with the kids, and because of that, she was targeted for bullying. She's also a late bloomer type that doesn't fit in with the in crowd, for lack of a better way of putting it. Through no fault of her own, she is a target for the other girls at school. But Carrie herself has a special gift, something that she doesn't even realize, that comes out in her late teens. She is telekinetic. So when she is caught in very emotional, high-stress situations, she can do things. And this is also near the end of the school year. Prom is coming up. Prom is very important that these girls, the popular girls, get to go. And something that was never really on Carrie's radar. And she gets invited to prom. And through a bunch of incidences, things at prom go very good for her and then take a turn and go very badly for her. And Carrie comes in at a very tight 1 hour and 33 minutes. And most of the movie is the suspense and the backstory and story building and character building to lead up to a big finale. It is not really your type of jump and it will get you type of horror movie. It's that slow burn, and like I said, Brian De Palma does like his slow burns with the big finish. And the performances of Sissy Spacek and Piper Laurie in this movie are so good. They got nominated for Oscars for their roles. Sissy Spacek in the lead actress category and Piper Laurie for supporting actress. This movie was a comeback for Piper Laurie and sort of a breakthrough for Sissy Spacek. And really stand out in the fact because people don't get nominated for Oscars a lot for movies in the horror category. And Sissy Spacek, for her role, decided it was best to isolate herself from the rest of the cast of the movie because of her character's loner aspect, an outcast aspect. She surrounded herself in her dressing room with the religious iconography that her character was surrounded with at home because of her mother. And the character of Carrie is by no means the bad guy in this story. You do sympathize with her. It's very extreme at the end what she does with all of this, but she is by no means the bad guy in this movie. It's Nancy Allen's character that is the bad guy of the movie. And Nancy Allen has always claimed that she never realized her character in this film was going to be evil until she saw the finished product. She just thought her and John Travolta's character were going to be, that self-centered teenage sort of comic relief couple that was always bickering. And her and John Travolta's character, they're boyfriend and girlfriend, but it is the worst relationship ever, bordering on abusive, at times very abusive, but they all are kind of played. I can see where she thought that they might be the comic relief of the movie. She also, when she read the script, how Piper Laurie's character comes off in the script as very over the top. She thought for sure the whole movie was just a comedy. And then you have Amy Irving's character, which is kind of the redemptive character of the story. She begins with piling on with the abuse of Carrie, the verbal assaults of Carrie, and then she comes around to realize they really, are the people that are wrong. And Amy Irving has her boyfriend, William Katt, who Carrie is kind of enamored with because he's like a jock guy, but also has an artistic flair. And she does have a little bit of an infatuation with him. So Amy Irving's character, she does ask him to ask Carrie to the prom. The teacher, played by Betty Buckley, thinks this is some sort of cruel joke, but Sue, Amy Irving's character, is sincere about her wanting her boyfriend to do this and showing Carrie a positive high school experience. But Nancy Allen's character has other ideas of what should happen at prom. And as a side note, Amy Irving's character's mother is played by her actual mother, Pricilla Pointer, who was a damn fine actress and often underrated on her own, but she was never a big star. Stephen King at this point is, of course, a very new author, and this being the first movie that the film rights sold also, he was paid $2,500 for the film rights for Carrie, which even at that time was a very low amount, but he was very new in his career as a successful author and somebody selling their movie rights. And he always said that he was very fortunate to have that happen to his first book. There was, at the time after Carrie came out, a flurry of studios and directors and producers after Carrie that wanted to make his books into movies. So this being paid low on the first one set him up for ultimate success and getting movie rights sold in the future. So it works out for him in the end. And Stephen King, this is one of his movie adaptations that he liked. The ending of the movie is very different from the end of the book. And Stephen King actually likes the ending of this movie better than the ending of the book. And how big of a hit was the movie Carrie? It was produced by United Artists for $1.8 million, and it made over $33 million at the box office, which in the 70s, that was a huge hit. So Sissy Spacek was thought to be too pretty to play the role of Carrie. In the book, she's heavy set, mousy haired, covered in pimples. Sissy Spacek is a beautiful, clear skinned, skinny, tall redhead. And that's really where they rewrote the character a little bit and really added a scene where she's told if she puts in a bit of effort, she'd be a really pretty girl. And Sissy Spacek, when she was making this movie, did not think it was going to be a hit. A lot of the people making this movie had no idea it would be such the hit it was. A reoccurring theme is how silly the script and over the top it seemed, from Nancy Allen to Piper Laurie to Sissy Spacek, all had reservations about the script. Sissy Spacek herself is amazed that Carrie is still remembered today. In 2022, Carrie was selected for preservation by the National Film Registry. And Carrie is a movie that is on a lot of lists for the best horror movies ever made. And if you're wondering if Carrie holds up today, it sure does. The themes in this movie are pertinent to themes today. The setting is different. It's very 70s. Of course, things are a bit different, but the storyline, how Carrie is treated, how everything turns out, is very pertinent to the experience of a lot of teenagers today. Just now they have social media. Kids still get bullied. Bad things happen in schools and everything. And it is told, like I said, in a tight hour and a half, build up with the payoff at the end. And it is a really, really well-crafted movie. Brian De Palma did a great job. All of the acting performances, especially Sissy Spacek and Piper Laurie, of something that admittedly could go wrong with an over-the-top sort of theme, really, really comes together. And if you watch it today, if you've never seen Carrie, I think you'll like it. But my name is Stacia. I'm just a girl on the internet that likes to talk about movies. And if you're a movie fan like me, I invite you to watch my videos, subscribe to the channel, and share your favorite movies with me. But I love you all. See you next time. Bye.